match last year was the fact that you were taken out of the reality because it looked like Undertaker had killed himself, and that's bad. You shouldn't have that in the match, you know. So I hope they don't do that. I really do. So yeah, Undertaker is. I think Undertaker is going over, and if they do it right, I think it can be more emotional and, dare I say it, a better match than last year. Because that one spot did really hurt last year's match. It must be said, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be better than last year because that's kind of setting the bar real high, but I think it could be an amazing match, and it could be an amazing post match. So it'll be interesting to see the way they go. I just hope Shawn Michaels doesn't sacrifice the match story for high spots like he did in Ric Flair's match where he did two moonsaults for no reason.
Then we have the SmackDown title, Jericho and Edge, which barely got a mention on Raw.
And for good reason. I mean, what a dead program this is. I mean, we're supposed to care because Chris Jericho made fun of Edge a half a dozen times on television over the last year. Who cares? How does that make it a hot feud? Jericho's not the guy who injured Edge, you know? If they'd even shot the angle originally where Jericho did injure him because he wanted a quote-unquote better partner or something, then they'd have something to feud about. Instead, they're feuding over Edge's lack of coordination. I don't know. And not only that, but these guys have done a million promos on each other. They've laid each other out a million times. And when they
every week.
Every friggin' week. They've never had the big, oh, did you see SmackDown this week because they did an angle with Edge and Jericho? They never had that moment. The closest thing they came, actually, which was good, was the day after Elimination Chamber, where Jericho was gloating about winning the belt, and Edge just comes out, slides into the ring, tosses Jericho to the floor, grabs the mic and says, something like, hey, Chris, I'm going to WrestleMania, and it's going to be against you. And the crowd pops, and that was it. They pretty much should have left it at that, you know? God, they've done way too much with this. And you know another thing that hurts it, Adam, is that when these two guys are standing in a ring cutting a promo on each other, Edge doesn't look like a wrestler. He looks like a lanky guy from a band, or like, the lanky best friend of the lead character in a romantic comedy. And Chris Jericho is short and pudgy, and he doesn't really move like an athlete. These two guys don't really come across, neither guy comes across as being dangerous, you know? I mean, Chris Benoit...
Yeah, that's why they'll never be on the poster for WrestleMania. It'll just be Cena and Triple H and Batista.
Yeah, are they not?
I think it is, and Undertaker.
Yeah,
no, they're not on the poster, no.
Yeah, well, there you go. And for good reason, and plus, they haven't helped Jericho at all. They've really destroyed him. They changed him. And we talked about this months ago, how they slowly changed Jericho from 2 years ago to being a hard-hitting heel who could potentially draw some money, to now he's just kind of he's basically half slapstick heel again. And he's got the friggin' world belt. I promised a couple of months ago that this match at Mania wouldn't be for the belt. And the fact that it is for the belt is amazing because it does not feel like a title match, does it?
Triple H is not.
Oh no. And another thing that I mentioned this briefly earlier. Right after the Royal Rumble, I said that I really wasn't sold on Edge being a main event babyface, and man, is the shine off him now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The biggest problem with Jericho going forward will continue to be an MVP of the company. I bet now they regret having him put over guys on ECW a couple of months ago. He'll continue to be an upper mid-card MVP because he can do it all. He's just not the kind of guy. He doesn't have the right
I thought you were calling him MVP.
No.
I panicked there for a moment. Sorry.
Jericho can do it all, but he doesn't have the right look, or the right promo ability, or the right athleticism, for that matter, to be a credible main event heel. He just doesn't. Or babyface, for that matter. And Edge doesn't know how to be babyface. Maybe one day he'll figure it out, but he hasn't figured it out yet, and he tries way too hard. He makes a million goofy faces. When he gets angry, he pulls his hair like a little girl, and he just tries way too hard. There's nothing cool about him. And that's too strong. He's funny sometimes. He's good when he's doing sort of like the slapstick kind of upper mid-card stuff. He's good in that role. These two guys would be great if they're wrestling for the IC belt. That would be great. And his other problem is that, as far as being a babyface is that he's 6'3" or whatever, and it makes it real hard to look at him as a babyface when he towers over a lot of his opponents. Because a babyface, by its nature, should generally be the underdog. He's much better as a heel, and maybe he'll figure out how to be babyface the way Batista figured out how to be heel recently, but he hasn't yet, so So that's how I
Who's
feel.
winning?
Drew McIntyre.
Really?
I wouldn't put money on it. It's the one bet on the show that I wouldn't, but every now and then WWE
Yeah.
surprises me. And I think it would be great that Edge beats Jericho, Edge holds up the belt, and before anything can even happen, the perfect way I do it is over his shoulder, the way you saw Edge over Cena's shoulder at Rumble. You see Drew McIntyre sitting there licking his lips, and everybody starts to hum and buzz and crackle, and Edge doesn't see it yet because he's just after a match. He turns right into Drew's finisher. Drew calls for the bell, hands the briefcase over, and pins him in the middle of the ring. And what makes that so great is not only because it's the last year they're doing Money in the Bank probably anyway, because they're giving it its own pay-per-view. What makes it so great is that Edge's gimmick has always been that he's the ultimate opportunist. And now Drew McIntyre, you can't have that as a babyface. It doesn't work. And now Drew McIntyre has taken that mantle from him, and it would lead to the feud. I think that would be a great story. I know
it has to happen.
Yeah, I don't know about the feud, but I think that booking-wise, that's absolutely what I do. Because Edge with the belt coming out of Mania, where the hell do you go with them? And that gives us somewhere to go with it.
Yeah, I'm on the boat. Definitely.
Cool.
And John Cena against Batista.
John Cena versus Batista. This is the match that I'm having the toughest time with. Batista should win. Batista should absolutely win. He's been on fire the last 2 months like never before in his career. Everything is clicked. He is getting main event heat, main event reactions. The stuff he's done. Remember that promo on SmackDown where he didn't say anything for 5 minutes a couple of months ago?
Yeah.
When he does cut promos, how he carries himself, what he says, Batista has been amazing. This is the peak of his career right now, and he's got to win this match because John Cena is the incumbent. He's won 1 million WrestleManias. He's won the belt at, including last year. If Cena loses, it doesn't matter. Batista can use something little like a low blow behind the ref's back, some little thing. I'm sure he'll do something nefarious. I don't think he'll beat him clean because they still see Cena as the money cow. But Cena's drawing power is burning out. The bloom is off the rose the last year. He's been overexposed, and it's the right time. Batista's never won the match. You know what I mean? Edge has
he beat Triple H that time.
Yeah, he did. Okay, that's fair enough. He did beat Triple H that time, but that match, didn't have that feel of him beating. It wasn't like he beat The Rock. It wasn't like he beat Steve Austin. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah.
It wasn't the match, and Edge is also.
That match was built up. That match was built up for Triple H to lose, if you know what I mean. This is the one where if he wins, he took something from John Cena.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. That is exactly the psychology going into this, and I think people are by and large expecting Cena to win in a lot of ways because he lost the last two, even though that might be one of the reasons why they didn't show him losing at SummerSlam 2008 on Raw. That might be one of the reasons why Cena looked stronger at the end of Raw than Batista, even though they weren't avert. But I think people are expecting Cena to win. I think there's some inklings of him winning. And I am going to say it's only 60-40 in my mind that Batista will win, because I never bet against John Cena. But it's absolutely the right time for Batista to win. And the cleaner he wins, the better, because he is on fire, and a company needs a strong heel. It needs a strong heel. And Batista coming out of Mania, if they book it right, will be that strong heel. So I hope that's what they do. I hope Batista wins, and by a small margin, he's what I'm betting on as well.